welcome back to the Neon Genesis Episode 4 Book Club. If you're a fan of Neon Genesis or even just joining in on the anime, feel free to hit that subscribe button, as every Wednesday I'll be dropping a new episode for the next 22 weeks. But let's go ahead and get into it. I hope y'all all enjoyed this week's episode. I know it was a little bit boring. I said the action is coming, and it is. But to start off, I would like to say that this anime is going to start off slow. And Shinji's character development is extremely important to the identity of the anime, and you'll kind of see that as we go along. Now, the plot is crazy, but we do have to get to a point where we understand what Shinji's going through, and that's kind of what this episode does. And getting into it, we kind of see that Shinji, he's not there. He's nowhere to be found after this last angel battle. Everyone's been looking for him. His friends stop by at the door, and Misato basically says that he's at nerve training. However, she has no idea where he's at either. And she's kind of just waiting to see what he's going to do, when he's going to come back, and we don't really know. And that's the crazy thing about this episode, is there's not a lot of action. Really what we're going to do, or what we did, if you followed the episode, if you haven't, make sure to go back and watch it and come back. We'll be here. But we basically just follow Shinji doing absolutely nothing. He rides a train in one of the most iconic pictures that I've ever seen. Or if you're an anime fan and you've never watched Neon Genesis, this is definitely a point where you've seen, oh, now I know what that's from. And yes, it's from Neon Genesis. This picture right here. And you can kind of see over time, Shinji is just riding this train. He's got his little cassette tape with his headphones in, which is extremely iconic to him. And we see the passengers get less and less, as, that kind of entails that he's been riding this train all day, almost to the night. And for the new people, you're kind of wondering, like, what kind of episode is this? This is extremely dry. But as you'll see, that Shinji is a very complicated character. On the base, he seems like almost he's just a kid, but he's been put into this position where, he has to grow up very fast. He doesn't have a good relationship with his father. And so basically everything that he's doing right now is just conflicting inside of his head. So far, what we know about Shinji is that he's a very quiet kid. He's shy. He doesn't want to do any harm. He's not one of those outgoing people. And we've seen him kind of thrown into this angel fighting action out of nowhere. I mean, from episode 1, he was thrown into an Eva, told to pilot. Don't know how he's able to do that. We get to see him training later on, but it's just very interesting for his character, because that's not who he is at all. However, I think it's his father on his mind, that, maybe he just wants to impress his father. He wants the acceptance of his father. And as we go on throughout the anime, I believe that we're going to continue to see that search, as we can see that he is not the kind to really give that to Shinji. He's work first. He's, let's get to business and let's get this done. And normally I would kind of go scene by scene and talk through it. But if you watch the anime or this episode, you know that specifically there's not much to talk about. Shinji is pretty much still loafing around town. He's avoiding everybody. He doesn't want to talk. He's been silent. And this is a pivotal moment for Shinji, because this is the point where he's either going to step up and be the Eva Unit 1 pilot, or he's going to leave and just give up. And in this episode, that's kind of what we see. I apologize once again. I'm not going to go scene by scene. I just really wanted to encapsulate basically what Shinji's been doing for the past 2 days in the anime. And it's a whole lot of nothing, but we get a lot of beautiful scenes. But yeah, and moving on, we kind of get this picture of Rei. She is obviously extremely beat up. They use this poor kid. I mean, she's 14 years old? And she's used as a tool pretty much. And following up, we get a quick scene of Shinji in his uniform. I assume maybe he just came by to put it on, or this might have been a flashback. However, it's important because Misato basically gives him a firm talking to. And it seems this is what he wants. He wants to feel like somebody cares about him. And I think it's important when Misato says nothing, Shinji wants to be scolded. And that's extremely important that we get to in the next argument. And we kind of see that Shinji's right here. The kids from school pretty much catch him walking home, and they invite him to the camp. And this is kind of one of the more bonding moments where I think it's important for Shinji's character, kind of feeling wanted and stuff. And then, of course, finally, like some of the biggest action of the episode, we get to see Shinji surrounded by agents, and they're basically just taking him in. And it's pretty funny because, this company is like extremely private. It's like the CIA or something. I don't really know how to compare it. But basically, I mean, they're coming to get him, and they're just basically telling him, like, are you in or are you out? And, he basically clears himself as out. And so we kind of get to see that all his badge rights are being taken. Obviously, it's a secret company, so they got to clear his clearance, and that's it. He's gone. They're basically shipping him out, which kind of shows his father. He never talks to his father. He came and piloted this thing, got no thanks from his father, and then his father basically just tells him to go. It was all business, and now you can kind of see why Shinji is the kind of character that he is, and it's terrible. And so we basically get to see Shinji talking to his friends and telling him, shouting to them that he's sorry because he feels like he's the weak one. He's a coward. He doesn't step up. And I think that in his head, this is also a pivotal moment because he knows that he wants to make a hard decision, but he's possibly scared or is mad at his dad, and it's exciting because that if you watch the episode, this is not the decision he's going to take. And he steps up, and it's really good for Shinji's character. And so while we get to the end of the episode, as you know, we basically see Shinji saying goodbye. He gets on the train. These boys are basically telling him how they're used to saying goodbye to people. Obviously, the city's always getting destroyed. And Misato pulls up to try to get him to stay. And at the last second, you see the train leave. And unfortunately, she thinks he's gone. But in a quick instance, as we kind of like flash over to the side and her walking away, we get to see Shinji stayed. He manned up, he went against his self-doubt, and he stayed. And I believe in the next episode, he'll be back to piloting his Eva. And that's kind of the cool thing, as this episode is very quiet, but it also is extremely loud. And we kind of get this stare down between Misato and Shinji, and it's a good one. I think Shinji's happy that she's there because it shows that she cares. And she's happy because he stayed and manned up to be, the person that she wants him to be, a proud person. Now, once again, I know the episode was a little bit boring, but it is extremely important to Shinji's character. And I know a lot of people, probably say that, but I really do think that although through all the action, this is a story about Shinji and him progressing in his character. If you made it this far, I hope you genuinely enjoyed the video, and I'll post some topics down in the comments below to help, kind of instigate some kind of conversation. But it's a book club, and I really hope that the people that are following along have really enjoyed this. And I hope to build a massive fan base, or not a fan base, but more of a group towards the end of this series. I appreciate y'all, and y'all have a great day. Make sure to like and subscribe.